Hello, it's Amber Smalley. It looks like things are starting to come together, which is awesome. So, I've got some alternative decision trees for you. I've also got some instructional recommendation documents for you, and I'm going to go over with you how to use them. Um, this is pretty much what I'm going to go over with your teachers next week at PD, but I know as administrators and coaches and all of that, you want to know this too, and it would really help me to just go ahead and talk through it now. So let me show you what I've got. The decision trees, I just went on ahead and put them in the pacing guides. That way you've got the one that I gave you originally that makes the WonderWorks recommendations. And then you've got a decision tree for if you don't have WonderWorks. It gives you some direction in what to do if you don't have it, like what resources to go to that we have, and that sort of thing. I did, while I was making the alternative resources one, find a couple of typos on the original ones, so I fixed those too. Um, and I'm going to show you that they're in the pacing guide, but I'm also going to go over them with you on a cheat sheet in just a minute. So if I go to second grade and I go to their planning guide, I'm actually going to download it, and then I'm going to click that little arrow and click show in folder. The reason I do that, a lot of the features that we um, used when we made these documents show up best in Adobe, and so it works best if it's not on the internet. The pacing guide is actually the only exception, so I really didn't need to do that. But if I scroll down, here's the decision tree we had before. There were some typos in this part. There were some incorrect page numbers. This is the one we had before. We took the winter one out because we're going to have to make some changes to it. And then you'll notice one says alternative resources at the top. That's the one with not WonderWorks, with something else. Let me say this for all grade levels. We said to use the fall screening data. We're going to ask that you instead use the end of year data from last year. We're actually pulling that for you right now. We're pulling your red and yellow kids. The reason, well, there's lots of reasons, but the main reason is we want these kids placed and getting instruction as fast as possible. So there's that for you. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to pull up, I've got a document that has, oh, where did it go? I have a document somewhere that has all of them in it together. And if you want that document, I can send it to you. I might put it in, you know what? After I finish making this video, I'll put it in this little admin section for you so that you can have them all together. But let me go through these and go over what the implications are for each grade level. So this is the alternative decision tree for kindergarten. For kindergarten, it's pretty easy. If they are red or yellow, they need some foundational skills, and they can find them in the foundational skills folder on the ELA K5 page. The other thing that we tell them to do, we just tell them to stay 1 week behind their peers. So for a red or yellow student, they would be getting like instruction in the letter M this week, and then in small groups for this, they get letter M again the next week. So they're getting a double dose of everything. The other thing we ask you to do, there's a document on the kindergarten page that gives instructional recommendations for DIBELS results, and it tells you what to go to in the foundational skills folder. So that's two things you can do with your kindergarten students. So if I go to kindergarten, the DIBELS instructional recommendations are right here, and it tells you how to go through your data to find what you need to find, and it also goes over exactly what weaknesses the kids could have on each and every test, what score they would need to make to be considered weak, and then exactly what resources we have available and what recommendations we suggest that you make. And anything that is referenced here um, from the instructional routine handbook, we went on ahead and put it in this document for you. We also put a how to get to the foundational skills folder sheet in here. Um, so if you go to the kindergarten page and you go to WonderWorks Alternatives, there's a foundational skills folder. And these look like, it doesn't look like enough for the year, but if you open one of them, let's see, I'm going to download show in folder. This is where being in Adobe really helps because you've got this bookmark button and they've bookmarked all the different resources that they have available. So they've got different lessons and activities. They've got um, worksheets. They've got all different kinds of stuff. So each file has a bunch of stuff. Some of them have bookmarks that scroll on forever. So there's those. For first grade, all of that is very similar. You go to the foundational skills folder, you look at the instructional recommendations for Dibble's document on the first grade page. It's exactly the same. I'll go ahead and show you first grade. See, there's the instructional recommendations for Dibbles for first grade. And then here's the foundational skills folder with all of the different lessons that we have available. Oh, let me go back to kindergarten right quick. We put in the foundational skills folder for kindergarten, we put the progression of skills that they use because they kind of spiral through these over and over. And so if a teacher wanted to know what WonderWorks would be doing with these skills, that's where they would find it on this particular document. So let's look at second grade because second grade is where it gets a little bit more complicated. So this looks kind of scary, but let me just let you know this box, and this box all say exactly the same thing. The only difference between these are that if you can only meet with one group of kids today, you're meeting with your priority one kids. If you can only meet with two groups, you're meeting with your priority one and then your priority two kids. The test that you give them is the same to figure out where they are and what they need to do. But the results for each kind of student will probably be very different. So if you have a red kid, if you have a low yellow, or if you have a yellow kid who scores below a 55 on Dibbles, you're going to administer the spelling inventory that's at the end of the pacing guide. And if it were me, I'd just give the spelling inventory to every single kid close to the first of school because that's what I used to do. I used to do words their way in my classroom, and so I would give this little spelling inventory to my kids because it's a really easy class activity. You're just basically giving them a spelling test to see what they know. So let me show you if I go to second grade and I pull up their planning guide, download, show in folder, second grade. Okay, so if I go to the very bottom, it gives you the instructions on what to do on the first couple of pages. And then we're going to skip that page for now. Let me actually turn these around. Okay, let me come back to those two. And here's the test. You're just giving them, you give every child a piece of notebook paper, or you have them take their notebook paper out, whatever, and you give them this spelling test. And then if you want to, you can only score the red and yellow kids. I scored all of mine, but you'll take this page and you'll score what the kids are missing in words. And from that, you'll get a score for each student. And then that score for second and third grade, this is the test you give, the IDSP, which is um, inventory of developmental spelling for primary. And let's say that you have a kid who got a 12. Well, if they got a 12, they're in this stage of spelling and word recognition. And so these are the kinds of things they needed to be working on. So I actually took this a step further because I'm crazy. And I just know I remember being that beginning of the year teacher and trying to get everything in and everything right, and um, just being overwhelmed with all the decisions that I needed to make. And as many things as I could have, like a clear cut decision on what to do as possible, that would have been very helpful then, and I think it'll be helpful to your teachers now. So what I've done, I've taken this and I have aligned it to our foundational skills folders. So you're trying to figure out where the kids are in word knowledge. There's a better word out there, but I'm just going to keep rolling. Um, when you look at the decision tree, it tells you that you're doing that to determine the lesson in the skills folder on the MCPSS ELAK 5 page with which to begin instruction. So if I go to that second grade page and I go to WonderWorks Alternatives, actually, let me go back. If I go to this document right here, the one that says Spelling Inventory and Foundational, that will give me a document that tells me the spelling stages, and then I've listed all the stuff we have on 365 for each of these categories. And so if you have a baby who scores way down here, they're going to want to pick out lessons in the phonological awareness or phonemic awareness folder, which is, I go to second grade and I go to WonderWorks Alternatives, and then to the foundational skills folder, there's phonemic awareness. It's got a ton of stuff in it. And then there's phonological awareness. It's got a ton of stuff in it too. And it goes in order so that you can know kind of how the progression is supposed to go. But most of your second, third grade kids are going to be, well, where did it go? I guess it's here. They're going to be in this phonics or structural analysis stage. So these phonics ones, I go to phonics, and there they are. And these have a ton of things in them. Um, they've each got at least practice pages and a lesson in each one. So if I had that kid that scored a 12, I could be pretty sure that I could start giving him some extra instruction, starting with some of these lessons in the folder, and I could just go in order from there. But I would need to not just start there, I would need to also take into consideration other data like Dibble's data. That will give me a more clear focus on where I need to start and where I need to go. Just observing the kid, any work samples, anything like that is going to help figure out where to start and where to go. And just in case, I listed on this one too at the bottom the fourth and fifth grade foundational skills folders, what they have available for each one. I think my team, when they made these, I think fourth and fifth grade put some of their stuff in second, third, and second, third put some of their stuff in fourth and fifth. So they're sharing some stuff a bit, but if you wanted to know what's available, there it is. And the same process holds true for third, fourth, and fifth grade. Also, they go through this same process on all of their pages. They have that spelling inventory document, and then if you go in WonderWorks Alternatives, there's a foundational skills folder for them to pull from. So it's very much the same process as this for that. The only kid that we haven't talked about on here by doing the spelling inventory and then go into foundational skills folder is this kid. This kid who is a high yellow student and can read well enough to decode the text. So if they score, this is second grade, so they take dibbles. If they score at least a 55, then they won't need foundational skills as much as they will need comprehension skills and close reading. And so we weren't completely able to replicate what WonderWorks offers, but we were able to get a list of all of the Lexile levels for the WonderWorks lessons each week. And my team found a leveled reader, actually found several leveled readers each week that relate to or that have that particular Lexile level and that are teaching the skill of the week for each week. And they've got them in folders so that teachers can use those for these kids. So this is second grade. So if I go to second grade and I go to WonderWorks Alternatives, you'll see that there's a leveled reader folder. Now what's in there right now is not what's going to be in there. We're changing it because we put a whole bunch of leveled readers in there, but we forgot to actually put lessons in there. So my team is putting together lesson cards and leveled readers so that the teachers will have a something to go by with the level reader. But I've got an example pulled. Okay, so this is one of them. This is from third grade, Unit 1, Week 1, and it's got the list of leveled readers at the top. It tells you the story, it tells you the Lexile, and it tells you the genre, the skill, and what grade it came from, because most of the time since the kids are behind, it's going to come from a lower grade level, but it will at least be addressing the skill of the week and will be in the Lexile range of these yellow babies so that they can have close reading instruction on their level. And then it's got a level reader lesson card that has the close reading routine on it. And it's possible that they can have this in another grade level and then have it in this grade level again. It's not going to hurt them to go through close reading more than once on the same book. It's going to be fine. And then it has the actual leveled reader in there. And I know we don't have the physical ones, but at least there's something there. If it were me, I'd have my laptop and would be passing it around to the kids. Just anything I can do to keep things on their level. So that's our recommendation for that. The only other thing I really need to point out, because um, everything is pretty much the same for third and fourth grade and fifth grade. It's just the scores are different. Um, the only other thing though is I can't believe nobody pointed this out to me sooner. And I can't believe it took me this long to figure this out or to notice. But we don't do dibbles in third, fourth, and fifth grade. And I put the score that you need for dibbles. And so some of you have access to third, fourth, and fifth grade dibbles, and you can use that. That's fine. But I've put the page numbers of the fall fluency passages from the diagnostic assessment book that you can use. The score you'll need is the same. And then I put those passages in with it. Even in the pacing guide, I put those in there with it, just in case you need those for this part. So I hope that helps. I hope that that gives you a little bit more direction on what to do. I did put these pages in on the other decision trees too, since I goofed on that. If you have any questions, please feel free anytime, asmalley@mcpss.com. Hope this helps.